State Hispanic Chamber event, and I thank you for your participation. We've got a great panel here, and we are looking forward to talking a little bit about what the SBA offers, what the Small Business Development Centers offer, and how we can assist businesses in starting and growing and expanding into new markets. I would like to take this opportunity first to introduce our panelists. We've got Scott Rogowski. He's with the Small Business Development Center through the Capital Finance Center located here in Sacramento. We have Oscar Garcia with the Hispanic Chamber here in Sacramento. We have Mike Daniel from the Small Business Development Center down in the Los Angeles area. And again, hopefully we'll be joined with Alan Gutierrez if we can get the connection up and running. With that said, I'm gonna start off the conversation with just a couple of questions. A couple of introductions. Scott, if you would just go first and maybe explain what the Small Business Development Center is and how they interact with the SBA.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Scott Rogowski. Thank you, Heather. Sbdc, Small Business Development Centers, we are federally funded by the SBA, Small Business Administration. And in the state of California, we're also funded by the Governor's Office of Economic Development, which is called GoBiz. So we are state and federally funded. And because of this funding, we come to business owners, all business owners, whether you're a startup, you're an existing business, you want to buy a business, you want to sell a business, or you want to help save your business during this time, we come to you at no cost. So we can work with you and advise with you, whether it be to get capital, hire people, launch a marketing campaign, or just try to save your business. We're here for you at no cost. And I run the Northern California Sbdc Finance Center. So we work with business owners and help them put their financials together to get the money that they're looking for. And I think Heather might be best to go to Mike Daniel, and so you can talk about what he does in Southern California and how he works with SBA.
Excellent. Excellent. Mike, you're up.
Perfect. Thanks, Heather. And thanks, Scott, for that introduction to the Sbdc program. So we are a federally funded program. We are nationwide. There are 62 Sbdc networks spread throughout the country. Most states run an Sbdc network. California is so large, we're actually broken up into 5 regions. So Scott covers the Northern California region. I happen to cover the Orange County Inland Empire region, but we also have a Central California region, a Los Angeles, Ventura, Santa Barbara region, and a San Diego Imperial County region. And as Scott had stated, we have roughly about 2,000 consultants that are part of our teams that can help you, really during these times, survive, recover, hopefully look at growth sometime in the future, but, helping people through the Paycheck Protection Program, Economic Injury Disaster Loan programs, and many other things that we'll explore today. But, the SbdCs are here to help you. We're actually the largest business development program in the country when you put all 5 of our networks together. So we are a massive organization with about 70 different Sbdc centers spread throughout the state. So wherever you're located, we have an Sbdc center near you. So thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Mike. And Oscar, if you wouldn't mind going through a brief introduction of yourself and your position.
Well, thank you very much. First of all, thank you, everybody, for joining us. I appreciate your collaboration. My name is Oscar Garcia. I'm a director of the Sbdc affiliate program at the California Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. And like Scott and Mike, we're part of the Sbdc network, and we provide assistance and educational assistance to small businesses, primarily the Spanish-speaking community. We provide classes, technical assistance, one-to-one coaching, and up to access to capital. So I'm glad to talk about what the benefits of and the advantage of the Sbdc is. So thank you, Heather.
Absolutely. And I neglected to kind of introduce myself as well. So my name is Heather Lutzy. I am the District Director of the Sacramento District Office of the U.S. Small Business Administration. There are 6 different offices throughout the state of California for SBA. There's 68 across the country and the U.S. territories, but we are the only federal agency that is solely focused on small business, and whether that be starting, growing, expanding into new markets, or contracting with the federal government and contracting opportunities, either through our 8A program or through different certifications. So we have the pleasure of working with the small business development centers, who are basically kind of our boots on the ground, and they assist small businesses in getting ready to, again, start, grow, or expand, or to access capital. With that said, obviously we're in the era of a pandemic, and it's been extremely challenging for a lot of businesses in this era. Scott, can you speak perhaps just for a moment about some of the challenges that have been encountered by businesses and how the SBDC has helped them to overcome those challenges?
Yes, thank you, Heather. It's been extremely tough for everyone, for business owners, for SBA, for SBDCs, to figure out how to best especially kind of go with the times. We've had to become experts overnight on the PPP, the Paycheck Protection Program, and the EIDL, Economic Injury Disaster Loan, that Mike spoke about. And with this, some of the challenges that we've had is to help business owners figure out, should they keep their employees on payroll? Should they let them go? How can they use the PPP for their best ability, the best advantage for them? So we work with them and their staff, their employees. We work with EDD, try to help them navigate that. We also have access to no cost, like some pro bono lawyers and attorneys that have also helped them kind of navigate those muddy waters on how to figure out with their employees what they should do with them, how they should use the PPP. Mostly what we do at SBDC is help business owners access capital. It's one of the best things we specialize in, and becoming experts on how best to utilize this brand new money that they've been able to get through PPP or EIDL. And once it goes into their bank account, help us to spend it appropriately, make sure everything is set up correctly, so that when they do potentially get audited, or they're trying to put their financials together for the crazy times of 2020, we could be there for them and help them make sure that all makes sense.
Excellent. Thank you, Scott. Mike, kind of the same question to you. What challenges are you facing down in Orange County, Inland Empire, that perhaps could be resonant of what's happening in the rest of the state? And how have you assisted small businesses in overcoming those challenges?
Yeah, and to Scott's point earlier, it was kind of come in phases, right? I mean, the original phase was we're shutting down early March. And so I think business owners had to figure out, what did that mean to their business, right? So it's a state mandate, it's a county mandate, it's a city mandate. You have all these different agencies kind of talking at you. You don't know who to follow. So I think the first point that we really tried to get involved with as an SBDC was to be relevant and factual information. And just to kind of give you our perspective from Orange County, San Bernardino, Riverside counties, all of our news comes from the city of LA. Well, the city of LA at that time was creating their own mandates and shutting businesses down. And so the news that we watch comes from the city of LA. So we thought it was exactly the same, when really you have to understand, is it a county mandate? Is it a city mandate? But people were starting to follow the city of LA's mandates, which is exactly what we don't want to happen. And so that misinformation. So I think what we all tried to do, all 5 of our networks across the state, was to be that source where it was factual information, that they could come to us and we would get them the actual information that was happening in their territory. And so working with the SBA, working with the state of California, working with the 58 counties that are part of California, I think all of that mattered. And then also, working with the chambers, right? Working with all these other organizations. And I think the one thing that we've seen the most, in PPP EIDL, was a huge part of business during March, April, May, June. right? And that's really where we fit in, right? Helping people through those processes, helping them fill out those applications. But then once they got those or were in the queue to get those, then it kind of turned and it changed, right? So now we're kind of in the process of going from just business development to economic development. And I think that's where we see our roles for SBDCs. We're now helping cities and counties with funding that they got allocated to them through the Treasury to start grant programs and to start loan programs as they're trying to figure out how to help these businesses survive in their regions. Because if they go away, so does their tax base. And so we've really shifted many different times. And I think now as we shift again, now as businesses are reopening and they're starting to realize that, gosh, maybe my brick and mortar isn't cutting it anymore and I need to start an online business, or I need to understand how to use third-party delivery services, or I just need more education as to, you're right, Scott, I just got this $150,000 of idle funding. What do I do with it? And how do I make sure that I spend it correctly? And what happens if I'm audited? And all these questions start happening. And then I have to pay my taxes, and then all these things that happen all at the same time. And I think that's where we come in and being relevant to not just the business owners, which is our main source and our main purpose for being, but also helping other agencies, other organizations understand how to work with businesses as well.
Excellent, Mike. I think that kind of touches on a very valuable point, is that both the SBA as well as our SBDC partners are almost, we operate in kind of a train the trainer fashion. And when you're talking about deploying the resources and training needed, it has to go out to the different chambers, to, Rotary, whatever the case is, however we can get the most businesses engaged and educated on what we offer. So thank you for that. And Oscar, how about you? What kind of challenges have you seen, and how in your capacity have you been able to assist businesses through this challenging time?
Well, through these challenging times for small businesses and the Hispanic community, we serve the really, really macro businesses that we have seen with a lot of challenges on access resources and technical assistance, as well as the benefits that the federal government, the state government has for those small businesses. Mm-hmm. As Mike said and Scott said, it is challenging for all the businesses that are really this close to really shut their doors down. So we are coming in to do a business needs assessment. We help them with the market analysis, and most importantly, to identify their position in the industry, as some of their the habits of our customers have changed. Now we've gone virtual, and now we're buying online. A lot of the businesses, they never had a website. They never even thought of ever doing business through online service. But now we are helping them with building websites, helping them to online sales and establish themselves in a way that they still be visible within the community, and also to refine their services and products to meet today's standards and demands. It's challenging because a lot of them they only speak Spanish, but luckily we have consultants that they're very well versed in all aspects of the businesses. So we are serving the community the way we're supposed to be serving them. So it's challenging, but we're creating a new trend, if you will, because now we are virtual, and we have classes that we're doing a cohort on business development, starting their business, redeveloping their business, rebuilding their business, and creating a different business model. So that's challenging, but we're making headways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that along with challenges come opportunities, right? And so from the standpoint of the opportunity that this has created has been a lot of online platform learning. And, we used to do a few webinars, but nothing in comparison to what we're doing now. And I'm sure that I speak for all of the centers as well. I think we're, as a byproduct of this tragedy or of COVID-19, we're becoming really much more technologically savvy. And I think that that's a benefit for all. We've also seen a lot of businesses who have had to close their doors with respect to different city and county ordinances and, even state shutdowns. So with that, selling online has been a huge benefit to our businesses. And it's wonderful that all of you have offered the services and assistance to the small businesses in gaining access to these online platforms or online channels. I know that some of you have done, how to sell on eBay, how to sell to Amazon or sell on Amazon. And I think that those things are quite important. Certainly, we've saw a lot of our restaurants pivot with, to-go orders versus having to, have folks sit in their restaurants. How do you see, the next 6 months going, and what would your advice be to specific industries? And I'll let any of you kind of chime in if you just want to pick an industry and say, how you plan on supporting that industry moving forward.
Yeah, and I don't mind. Maybe I'll start. Let me take the three sectors probably hit the hardest early on: restaurant, retail, hospitality, right? And so as we kind of look at those businesses and we look at the really underserved communities where, technology wasn't an option, right? They might have been cash only. They have really no financials to look at to really navigate their business. They weren't able to access PPP and EIDL, right? I mean, these are all big things that these businesses are trying to overcome, and they're still paying rent, or they haven't paid their rent. And so we're teaming up with a lot of larger organizations, to make sure that we can actually come in, bring in POS systems to them, teach them how to have touchless transaction systems and terminals in their place of business at no cost. And I'm a retailer as well, and a lot of businesses or a lot of people don't understand that there's also a national coin shortage right now, right? And so businesses that are cash only, people don't want to touch cash. So if you're a cash only business, how do you flip that? And so, especially when we get into minority businesses that, that has been the way that they've done business for 20 or 30 years, it is a culture shock for them to change to this type of a system, but the only way to be relevant. And then as we get into this, in retailers, MasterCard had launched a statement that we tried to build a partnership with them. They feel that 60% of underserved communities that are brick and mortars that have no online access to purchase will be out of business in 6 months. Imagine that. I mean, that's more than 1 out of every 2. So how do we go and assist that? Excuse me. And so some of the things that we've done is we're actually utilizing, I work out of Cal State Fullerton. We're taking our students and we're going in and building books for these businesses on the back end. And then we're bringing in technology that they can use for POS systems, and then teaching them how to be a better business owner. And at the same time, we're launching programs that will run through all the SBDCs throughout the state. They'll be launched next month, where we're teaching these businesses how to start an e-commerce platform and then how to manage it at a successful level. So you'll see that rolling out through all 60 SBDCs throughout our state. And also, Oscar kind of touched on it a little bit of going virtual. We still have the in-person presence, and I think that that's something that I don't know that all SBDCs have that, but we still feel that there are just some businesses that technology will be outside of their ability. So we are still going to businesses if we have the ability to do that, to go help them, because that's the only way that they can receive service.
Excellent.
Excellent. Oscar, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Like Mike said, it's one of the industries that also got hit really hard is the service industry as well. As you know, there is a lot of janitorial cleaning services, as well as stylists and the beauty salon and so forth, that we're not able to really work with their clients. So the advice, your question was, where do we go from here? How do we see it within 6 months? Well, with the 6 months, my recommendation is, as we're practicing right now and we're helping businesses to rebuild. How to rebuild? Again, we have to build a different model right now because the tendencies have changed. The disposable income of our customers or clients have already been reduced already. So how do we actually create a new business model to provide the services or the products at a reasonable price, given the fact that the market is not doing so good for a lot of people. They lost their jobs, their job has been reduced, but yet you still want to be in business. And how do you get that profitability to be sustainable? So all those things, that's what we teach our businesses. Our consultants are working really hard at working with them. And yeah, we do one-on-one when it's feasible and so forth, because yes, there's a lot of businesses that, again, they're not savvy doing virtual meetings or actually working remotely. So that's my recommendation, is to start rebuilding right now. Utilize this SBDC, utilize the services that we provide at no cost. We have thousands of consultants, and the experts are readily available to help these individuals. So here we're really busy as an example of that. And I said that virtual, we are doing a business development cohort right now. We have 120 students on online, and everybody is assigned a consultant, and they're very happy. They're very happy right now because they're adjusting to the new technology. They're adjusting to the new way of communicating with their customers or their clients. So it is very for me, it's very encouraging, because we are making that leap. We're actually moving forward. We're not just sitting back like, now what am I going to do, and so forth. And with the help of the finance center, because we work very close together, I mean, it's just a perfect match. So for anyone that is listening, it doesn't matter where you are. Just reach out to the SBDC Business Center, and you'll be in the very good hands. So that's my 2 cents.
Excellent. You know, Oscar and Mike just touched on this too. So before I pivot to you, Scott, I just want to reiterate that, you know, we've heard that there's no cost for the services. So just a kind of a clarifying point here is that the services that are offered from both SBA as well as our small business development centers, there is a cost. It's actually your taxpayer dollars. And even though the services are offered free of charge, you've already prepaid for those. So please, by all means, utilize those services. Take advantage of your tax dollars. You're paying for it anyway. Get the benefit from the expertise at the small business development centers. Scott, please, what would your suggestion be to businesses, say within the next 6 months or so, on how they could overcome some of the challenges that they've faced?
Yeah, so Mike and Oscar talked about the industries, and I can't really add to any more to that. There's with projecting, you know, we always talk about it when we jump on these lender calls. We all wish we had a magic 8-ball. We could predict the future and figure out what does the next 6 months look like. All of us are in, most businesses are calendar year, and they're experiencing their fourth quarter right now in October to December. And some places are open 25%, 50%, maybe 75%. And you can't really look back at the last 6 months to project the next 6 months. So when you would normally have 1 year to look backwards for your projections to figure out what you can do for the next 6 months, we don't have that anymore. It's gone. So we almost have to look at 2019 numbers to predict 2021 numbers, because 2020 was not really there. So if you, depending on your industry, so if you're a restaurant, and depending where you are, so Mike and I talk about this all the time. I'm in Northern California, he's in Southern California. So what is his restaurants open out there, and how are they open up here in Northern California? And they're very different depending on where you are in the state. So if you are looking at 2021 numbers and trying to project on how to get there, because of your federal tax dollars at work, it doesn't cost anything to work with us to help you look at your 19 numbers, look at your 2020 numbers, and then look at how to get to 2021 and what does the first 6 months, maybe the last 3 months of this year and the first 3 to 6 months of next year look like. We can work with you, hold your hand, look at your financials, help you forecast, look at your revenue, look at your expenses, figure out where you can cut and how you can get to the next level. I know times they look very bleak right now, but some of you may be able to potentially buy your building. You may not be able to do it now, but maybe next year, the next 3 to 6 months, it may be, now that rates are super low, it may make sense for you to buy a building and pay less in mortgage than you do in rent, and give yourself some control and help you kind of rebuild your assets. But we can help you figure all that out at no cost.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, and that's a great point too, Scott. The SBA, obviously, we've discussed the Paycheck Protection Program, or PPP, that has been in the news quite a bit over the last 6 months, as well as our economic injury disaster loan. And something of note is that our 504 loan program, which is a program that is meant for commercial buildings, construction, just, large equipment, etc. Those numbers are through the roof right now. I mean, truly, we're having the best year that the agency has had since 1953, which is just astounding. So it speaks to the opportunities that are plentiful out there if you're in a position to do that. Now, some of the audience perhaps may not be in the position to purchase a building, or they're concerned about getting ready for financing. Would the small business development centers assist them in creating, say, an income statement or a balance sheet, or at least explaining what those items are and why they're relevant in the success of their business? Mike?
So absolutely, and one of the kind of core principles I think that we follow here in the SBDC program is we want to teach you how to be a better business owner, right? And so everything should be done by your numbers. So if you don't have P&Ls to look at, we want to help you build them, and we can build them quite quickly, right? And some people just don't know what they're looking at, so you're scared of what to put together, or you have an accountant that performs these for you every year, and they give them to you to take a look, like, okay, great. But you don't really analyze it. But the best way to project the future, and kind of what Scott was talking about, is to look at what you currently are doing. That's the only way to make assumptions off of it. And so we absolutely will help you put those together in a very short period of time, but then also help you use them, right? And I think that's the bigger point here is, how do we use this, right? We want to make sure that we understand your cash flow situation. I mean, I own a couple of chocolate stores, right? So I know right now I'm purchasing hundreds of thousands of dollars of inventory to sell at the holiday time, but I need capital right now to be able to pay for it. So how do you plan and prepare for that? And I think that's kind of what everybody's alluding to, is those types of points.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And Oscar, from the standpoint of the language barrier, how do you assist the small businesses in gaining knowledge or access to these particular forms? Mike mentioned a P&L, so that's a profit and loss statement. And some businesses, operate kind of, cash basis, cash in, cash out. They don't understand cash financing or accrual, or a profit and loss statement, or an income statement. You can assist them with that in language. So I think that that's very important as well, is that the in language assistance is available, and the expertise is still on par with other centers throughout the state and throughout the country.
Exactly. Yeah. That's the advantage of the SBDC, the fact that we have multilingual consultants, and we have experts and the subject matter. Now, you touched on the right point, that a lot of our small businesses, they function on the cash basis. So we help them identify the advantages of actually having an accounting system or a record keeping system. That's one. Another one, we also find very, very uncommon, but we find that a lot of companies or a lot of businesses are functioning, operating under the wrong entity. So instead of a company that it has many years and has good revenue and is growing, well, we help them go from sole proprietor to a corporation. So we help them incorporate that. We have assistance with accountants, and we definitely, you're right, we definitely help them in their own language, at the comfort of their own, whether it's virtual, whether it's one-on-one, and we do go through the numbers. We do have all the record keeping, all the accounting systems in Spanish, so they can actually understand. And we also used all the resources outside our network as well. So we introduce them to many resources that are available out there. So yes, that's, like I said, that is the advantage of the SBDC. And that's the reason why they should seek SBDC before anything else.
Exactly. And I think of point two is that the Small Business Development Centers, or SBDC, can help to get you finance ready, or can help to get you ready to take that step, as Oscar used the analogy of going from a sole proprietor to a corporation. They can help you make that transition and kind of hold your hand and guide you through each step of the way. And honestly, it's not an easy task, but it's by no means rocket science either. It's just that we understand businesses don't go through these types of changes or challenges on a daily basis. And the expertise through the Small Business Development Centers, in conjunction with the Small Business Administration, we deal with this day in and day out. So I think that from the standpoint of utilizing the resources and services that are available, you absolutely should seek those services. Scott, what kind of a best practice would you have, would you like to talk about to the audience today? What comes to mind during these challenging times?
Yeah. Mike knows I'm finance all the time, all day finance. So I can't steer away from that. You know, Oscar talked about getting them ready. We talked about helping them craft. I talk about it as crafting a P&L or balance sheet, profit and loss, or balance sheet, income statement. Because you may not know how to put all your numbers together, and you may be just a little bit jumbled to figure that out as you're trying to save your business. So even though it may seem daunting to try to figure out how to apply for an economic injury disaster loan, you have from now till the end of the year to apply. We can help you apply, fill out the application, hold your hand, and help you fill it out correctly so that you get the monies that you need to save your business. Heather spoke about the 504. There's the 7A. These are just loan terms or categories, titles. We can help navigate the arduous process of trying to figure out the lending landscape that exists in the world today. If you thought it was tight to get capital a year ago, it's so much worse and harder right now, but it's not impossible. It may seem daunting and impossible to you, but as a best practice at SBDC, and because of the funding that we get from SBA, we can relieve all your stress that you may have to help you find the right lender for you, whether it be a big bank, a little bank, a CDFI, a nonprofit lender, a micro lender. We can help take all your financials, package it together, kind of put it together, put a nice bow on it. And then if you go down to Orange County, hang out with Mike Daniel, he can help you do an amazing business plan. He calls it a bank plan. And then we can help you put together some projections. And actually, we have experts that specialize in knowing different industry sectors. We have it all across the state and across the country. So we kind of can help you with the trends, with the market analysis, with your competition, and then really understanding how to put the numbers down on paper and then the assumptions that back those numbers. And then because you are experts in the businesses that you run and own and your passion, and you're not experts in talking to lenders, there is a language barrier gap there. We're the mediator for you to help you talk lender speak, CBA speak, and then your speak. And then we know how to help you present that to give you the best chances so that you don't have to go and shop the market. We can do that for you at no cost.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Excellent, Scott. Thank you. And I would go just a step further and say I wouldn't categorize you as the moderator between the businesses and the lenders, but I would say you're the advocate. You go to bat for these businesses. And yes, Alan, we can hear you now. Thank you. Yay, that's okay. Very, very glad that you could join. This is Mr. Alan Gutierrez. He is, well, Alan, I will let you introduce yourself. How's that?
No, talk about technical difficulties, and I'm sure everyone's gone through those before. So I've been the last 30 minutes trying to get myself. You guys can hear me, so things are going okay. You can hear me all right?
Yes, thank you.
Perfect. I could hear all the great conversation and input from the great panel that we have on board, and certainly want to thank you. Thank on behalf. I know Heather, as one of our great district directors that manages our Sacramento office in the region there, of all the great work that the SBDC do for our community, for all communities across the country on that aspect. So certainly I didn't want to break in, so the thought process that someone was going, I definitely I apologize for that aspect, but certainly Heather, you get an award for stepping for me, so you name from that standpoint. But I want to thank Scott, obviously Heather, Mike, and Oscar Garcia as well for being on here. I thought I'd give, just breaking in, just kind of like, I know it's the middle of the panel and I apologize, but I wanted to kind of give a perspective of really what we're seeing out there across the country. Certainly, love California. I'm from California, grew up in Southern California, and certainly the state's near and dear to me. But certainly we're seeing a lot of great, really seeing, when I was just on an interview on CNBC earlier today, and they're asking about what are we seeing at SBA, and we really want to see, we really, now that SBA is a household name, we see an opportunity to be there in short-term and long-term as a true partner to every small business, every entrepreneur that has a dream to start a business or that has a dream to pivot in the sense of what they're currently doing and what they're now doing because they see a need. I was telling people that entrepreneurs, by nature, we always want, a go-getter. We certainly will fall down and we get back up and try another business and go from there. And I'm sure all the state directors and the SBDCs see that a lot from that standpoint. We see that now we're in a recovery mode. And I was very heartened in a good way that I'm seeing from other state directors from SBDCs across the country saying that they're seeing a pivot in the sense of businesses. In the beginning, obviously, was I'm drowning, I need help, I need, I need a loan, I need something, I need a survival, I need a life vest. Now we're seeing, not in every state, but we're seeing quite a bit, is they're coming in saying, I want to start a business, or I want to pivot, I'm looking for a loan, I want to get more counseling and training, because I want to fulfill the dream that I've always had in that aspect. So that's a great sign. We're happy to hear that. And certainly with our Administrator Jovita Carranza, who's been traveling across the country and hearing all the success stories and seeing real in person all the how the impact that we've done of over 1/3, if you think of over 30 million Hispanic, 30 million businesses across the country, small businesses, and then we've already touched over 1/3. That's just a number unheard of in that aspect. For me, I will say this is my second time back at SBA, and certainly it's just it's great to see from the boots on the ground, from Heather and her district office and her leadership, to all of you and the SBDCs, all they do day in and day out. I told this to my staff the other day, was that really, we, through our lifetimes, we have different chapters in our career, in work career, right? And certainly we might not think of it right now, but and I've seen it personally. You get the calls, you get the emails, you get thank you for helping me, thank you for this, thank you for helping me in that aspect, or introducing me to the local SBDC, to helping me them. They really help me. I'm really now above waters. Those are the types of things that give really an energy, a boost every day when you walk into the lobby and help every small business out there. So I want to congratulate all of you for what you're doing, and congratulate SBDCs. You're a role model of California. I talk about across the country in diversity, in knowing that our neighborhood is changing and we need to be better neighbors. What do I mean by that? I mean by that is that I'm very, I was ecstatic when I heard this a year or so ago, was that the Hispanic Chambers of Commerce, through California Hispanic Chambers, are part of the SBDC network, and that is a wonderful thing to see, because now we're getting and being involved into Hispanic communities and other communities that want to see, and under the leadership of our administrator, she wants to see more of SBA involved in the underserved communities and more in rural America. So that's certainly something that I use all of you, no pressure, Mike and Scott and everybody else in terms of that, but really a role model of what you're doing in California that I love to see. And it's starting to happen in certain parts of in other states, of them being more inclusive and more partnership oriented with SBDCs in their local state. So I want to give that perspective overview of what's happening, what we're seeing, some of the things that we're looking at in that aspect. And given that we have a lot of participation in this conference, we were also at SBA. We just celebrated yesterday internally our Hispanic Heritage Month. And one of the things I mentioned nationwide to all our the employees, as we say, La Familia here at SBA, is that we have been doing a one-year progress in terms of focus groups on how SBA can be better in the Hispanic community. And there's some already things happening that I'm happy that we're doing. We have our resource guide all in Spanish. All the PPP and IDLE information is translated and available in Spanish. We're looking at ways, and we'll be working with the district offices in the near future on ways to work closely together, Hispanic community, because the numbers don't lie. As we look at the numbers in terms of Hispanic businesses that we are estimated right now over 4 million plus, and we see that doubling, and we see that increase not only in population but in Hispanic businesses. So we at SBA, and working with all of you, the SBDC networks, the Women Business Centers, and SCORE, want to be all together as a team to help the entrepreneurship spirit in our Hispanic community. So I wanted to give the perspective. I'm glad that so far you guys can hear me and everything's okay. I'm crossing fingers that our system doesn't go down and I don't stay frozen in a certain way on the screen. But I want to turn it over to you, Heather, because you're doing a great job. So you're doing great, and I just hopefully that little perspective from a nationwide perspective helped everybody in that aspect.
Thank you, Alan. We appreciate that. And I love the La Familia. We are all family. We are all one, and we should be supporting and helping one another. So that's what we're here for. I would love to have each of you, Mike, Scott, and Oscar, if you would, kind of provide, a couple minutes of perhaps kind of closing remarks. And then we'll go back and talk about how they can contact each of you or the Small Business Development Center within their specific geography. So, Mike, would you mind going first, please?
Sure. So let me start with this. We are all business owners possibly on this call, or business developers, but we are all consumers. So my first suggestion is to shop local, right? Make sure you're supporting those small restaurants, those small retailers, those, support your community and do whatever you can to make sure that you're helping those small businesses succeed during this time, whether it's buying gift cards, for when they reopen, if they have to be closed, to, shopping curbside if you don't feel comfortable going into the restaurant, whatever it may be. Just shop local, help support that community so that they're there for you in the coming years. Take advantage of the services that we provide. I mean, one of the things I know Oscar touched on, this fact that we speak Spanish, but we also speak 15 other languages throughout our state. So we have of the 2,000 consultants, we have, more than 25% of them speak multiple languages. So we speak almost every language, throughout the state of California, and we have consultants that we can get to you. But, pay attention. I'm going to go through a whole bunch of things here. Pay attention to your competition, right? I mean, now is the best time to take a look at what others are doing. My wife, at least in Southern California, you weren't able to purchase alcohol to go, right, from restaurants. Well, that has been a huge margin maker for a lot of restaurants, as they're selling alcohol to go with the meal. And so every meal that we have, I always have to get a extra bag of alcohol that comes for my wife, as she's drinking it. I'm sure that a lot of people, she's a first grade teacher, so she needs it after dealing with that all day. But, there are so many opportunities to pivot, like Alan said. Think differently. I know in my businesses, I was against using, DoorDash, Uber Eats, any third-party delivery service. And when I reopened in June, we started to put DoorDash in, right? Something that I was against technology. I'm a little older, so it's not for me. But, we on average in each one of my stores average between 3 to 5 DoorDash deals a day. And when you come into my stores, my average transaction is $10. On those, it's 25, right? And it's reaching a customer that I never had before. So it's marketing for me, right? And so there's so many little things and little pieces that people are doing to pivot, to change, just to survive. And I think, as everyone has stated, yes, we are starting to see a recovery in some areas, not in all areas, but to think towards the future, you also have to project what happens if my business has to close again. Maybe this time I'm a little more prepared so that I can sell online, or I have other avenues to sell these things. And it's just thinking through that. I think that's where the SBDCs provide such value, is that we're all business owners too going through this, and we're helping you through the same pieces. And we see so many things. Let me just quickly give you a for example. I live in Huntington Beach. So downtown Huntington Beach, I have a location. Well, they closed down Main Street and they opened it up to all the restaurants to do outside dining, as businesses were originally not allowed to have any inside diners, and now it's 25%. Those restaurants are doing better in 2020, August, September, and now October than they did in 2019, right? And so there are so many different ways to help these businesses survive. I think it's, as a community, coming together, making sure that you're vocal with your city council members. If you're a business owner and you've never spoken to a city council member, a county representative, a state representative, speak up. You put them in office, they're there for you. So make sure that they understand what your needs are. And I'll just kind of stop there and let, Oscar and Scott jump in.
Excellent, Mike. Excellent. Scott, would you like to go next, please?
Yeah, so I don't want to take too much from Oscar, since we only have a couple minutes left, but Mike went over a lot of different things for a lot of different industries. And what I would say to you as far as closing remarks, you small business owners, is that we are here for you. We understand your industries. We understand what you're going through. We live it, as Mike was talking about technology and kind of how to pivot and how best to place your business in the right spot, and kind of how best to plan for the future. So we're here for you. We understand what the marketplace is talking about, what the communities are doing. Alan spoke about us mirroring our communities better, not only having Spanish speaking, but all other types of languages that we speak to help you get the services that you need in language. And what I'm really asking of business owners is that they actually pick up the phone or email us or call us or join one of our webinars, because we are here for you at no cost. And we can help you navigate these. You're not alone. You have us here. We're here for you, no cost. It's your federal tax dollars at work, and we welcome you reaching out to us. So thank you.
Thank you, Scott. And Oscar, how about a couple closing remarks?
Thank you very much. Thank you, Heather. And first of all, Alan, thank you very much for joining us. On behalf of the California Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, we thank you for all your information you shared with us. Is great. The panelists, thank you very much for joining us. I really appreciate your collaboration. And Heather, likewise, you've always been there for the programs. And just for the business owners and those who are willing or starting or wanting to start a business right now, please go to the www.cahcc.com, and that is the No Wrong Door. Once you go to our website, we can put you in contact with Scott. We can put you in contact with Mike, wherever you are in the state of California, and even out of California, if you're watching this webinar, there is no wrong door. We are here to help you. We are in this together, and that is our commitment and advocacy for small businesses and your employees as well, for the benefit and success of your small businesses. So with that, I say thank you to all of you. And Heather, you're the moderator. Thank you very much again.
Absolutely. It's honestly been my honor and pleasure to have a chat with everybody today. Thank you all for your advice and guidance. Alan, your leadership is very, very much appreciated here in the field. And we know that, it's not a difficult position to be in at the top, because you do get a lot of the bad news. But it's always just a pleasure to talk to you when we have good news and we're able to put on a performance like this and talk to, the Hispanic Chamber members and provide valuable assistance. And again, prepaid tax dollars are paying for this. So again, Mike Daniel, Scott Rogowski, Oscar Garcia, Alan Gutierrez, thank you all very, very much. If you're looking for contact information for any of the small business development centers, you can find it either through the Hispanic Chamber's website, as Oscar stated, or through the SBA.gov website and look for local assistance. Thank you all again for joining us, and we hope you have a wonderful afternoon.
Thank you all. Appreciate it.